Welcome to the Fit Girl Magic podcast. If you are ready to find your inner magic, develop great habits, and a rock steady mindset to feel confident, comfortable, and fit in your body, you are in the right place. I am Kim Barnes Jefferson, and I'll be giving you weekly doses of health, fitness, and life tips sprinkled with humor and real talk. If you're ready to be consistent without the stress of perfection, magic makers, it's time to slip into your favorite pair of PJs, grab some coffee, kick back, and listen to today's show.
All right, today's iTunes review of the week is brought to you by C. Hayes 77. I am so happy to have found this podcast. I look forward to listening to the new episode every week. I just finished the latest episode on lifting weights and loved it. I listened to it 3 times because it's so informative. I feel like I have a trainer in my ear when I listened and a friend to chat with, along with the things I love, fitness. Thank you so much, C. Hayes. That just fills my heart so full. So anyone else has a review, please absolutely share it with me. I love this and I appreciate every single review that I get. It just melts my heart that I am sharing the information that is going to be helpful for you to make sure that health and fitness is easy for you. Hey, Magic Makers. I don't know about you, but I'm overhearing this talk about hot girl summer, being shredded for the summer. And can we just have like a little come to Jesus moment together here? Like, whether you're out on your hot girl walk or stuck in traffic, hiding from your to-do list, got a nice cup of coffee in your hand, this one is for you, right? We are halfway through 2025. Let that land. And I usually don't like to date my episodes, but I feel this is a perfect opportunity to get that done. I really want to just bring this home. We've had 6 months underneath our belt here. And so I'm going to ask you a question, and I ask myself, I ask my clients, I'm asking you, are we going to repeat the same cycles or are we going to rewrite the story? And because I'll tell you right now, I live both, right? I lived the same story. I feel like it was a little bit like Groundhog's Day. If you've ever seen that movie with Bill Murray, it was Groundhog's Day, right? I would try hard, set myself and fail. But I'm like, I got to double down. I got to go harder. Fail again. Maybe I need to try a new approach that's even harder, more restrictive, so on and so on. Oh, if I don't do all 20 things on my to-do list, I suck. Oh my God, if I'm not busy enough, I suck. Like all the things. And the one thing I know about life that doesn't change is that starting 6 a.m. boot camp, starting with habits that no one claps for you is never going to get you the results, right? And I know that because I have done them all, right? I've done the early boot camp workouts. Hell, I ran early boot camp workouts. That's how I got into fitness. But I know that doesn't work, right? Because the moment life gets hectic, life gets chaotic, all that shit falls out the window. The moment that you have to work late, that 6 a.m. workout, doesn't seem as fun and interesting anymore because you're exhausted throughout the day. The full hours of meal prep seems absolutely fabulous until you go away for a long weekend and you're dragging your ass in home somewhere like after 8, 9 o'clock at night and you haven't even hit the grocery store. I get that. Between barbecues, beach days, weekends away, rosé, and, school ending chaos, kids being home. And, now it's a new schedule of shuttling here, there, and everywhere, or the ever present, I'm bored. Can I borrow the car? We all say, I'm going to start after vacation when the schedule chills out, when the kids aren't, hanging around 24/7, when I'm more motivated, when I'm more disciplined. And I hear that all the time. And there's never going to be a good time. And the one thing I always try to stress to you, clients, anybody who will listen, is that the slowest life ever got was during Rona. And we still found an excuse not to get shit done. But here's what I've been coaching for over 20 years. Waiting doesn't protect your progress. It delays your potential.
Hey, Magic Makers, real quick before we dive in, can we talk about your metabolism for a second? If you feel like your body has been giving you the finger lately, you are not crazy and you definitely are not broken. You might have a metabolism that is tired AF. I created a fun quiz to help you figure out exactly what's going on with your metabolism and what the heck to do about it. It could be, are you eating too little? Overtraining? Maybe doing the right things and still feeling stuck? This quiz will call it out. It only takes a few minutes and you will get a custom result that is spooky spot on. So if you're ready to stop throwing spaghetti against the wall and finally figure out how to eat, train, and feel good again, go take the quiz right frickin' now. Link is in the show notes. Let's figure out how your metabolism is holding you back and how to get out of diet jail. So back to the show.
And the way that came about was, several years ago, I was having a conversation with my then coach, and she was like, the time's going to pass anyway. So you might as well pass the time moving in the direction that you want to. Because I see so many people park their ass on the sideline and be like, oh, I'm just going to wait till it's a better time. Oh, I'm just going to wait for this. I'm just going to wait for that. And the one thing, like I said, she said the time's going to pass anyway. But wouldn't it be great to learn how to get shit done when it's busy? Let that sink in. Because I know for me, over the last few months, I have not been home solidly for 2 weeks in a row. I've been home for 2 weeks and then I'm gone again. And it would be really easy for me to be like, I'm just going to wait till I'm home for a month. And guess what? That shit doesn't fly, because for us ladies over 40, the stops and the starts, it's even harder to restart, right? The 1 to 2 pounds that you think that you're just going to burn off, it's going to accumulate. And I don't mean this to scare you. I mean this to really stress upon why now is more important for us to find the consistency versus the constant that we need to keep going. And so what I know is that results only show up when your calendar is perfect, right? That's what most people think. Like, I got to be perfect in order to get the results. But that plan is probably trash, because I've seen so many people fall apart when they have 20 things in their to-do list and they skip 2 things and they're like, oh my God, Kim, I blew it. And I'm like, oh, how did you blow it? And then they tell me like, well, instead of getting 20 grams of protein, I got 15. Oh, instead of getting 15,000 steps, I got 12. Right. And so you discount because you didn't nail it right on the head. We are not a calculator, right? We're not trying to balance to the penny for things that we do. Like that's the mindset that I really want us to start to break away with, right? Because if it has to be hard work, if it has to be miserable to count, then it's not a lifestyle. It is a countdown to burnout. It is a prison sentence. You're being shackled by your workout. You're being shackled by your nutrition. And I don't know how many years I spent in that prison, self-imposed prison, right? Because no one knew if I worked out. Yes, sure, I have my own self-accountability. Absolutely. But no one rang my doorbell and be like, hey, girl, I noticed you didn't go to the gym at 5 a.m. this morning. So what's up with that shit? No one said that to me. But in my head, I beat myself up. Oh my God, I can't believe I didn't go to the gym. Oh, tomorrow, it's gotta be double. I'm gonna double down. And all the craziness that I told myself about my workouts. And we've been trained. The diet industry has done good Lord, has done such a freaking number on us that we believe that if I was not starving, it wasn't working. I believed if I was not sore, it didn't count. I believe that if I had anything off plan, I failed. Pizza, wine, potato salad at the barbecue, ice cream with your kid. Oh, string me up and put me in diet jail. And let's be honest, I was not the queen of mindset. I was the queen of the all or nothing. I was their ruler.
So I told myself, I skipped the wine. I brought my own food in Tupperware to parties. I chugged a protein shake in the car so I wouldn't mess up. And I was like the queen of discipline, like, I don't need that wine. Oh no, I can't have it. Oh no, no. Not because I couldn't have it, I chose not to. And that's very different, right? So I want you to really understand the idea between a choice and a decision, right? And so I was making these hardcore decisions. Like, yeah, no, I'm not having that extra cookie. Ew. That extra glass of wine. Ew. You're lucky I'm having this one glass of wine, right? And if I did have the extra cookie or the extra glass of wine or the truffle fries, the guilt on the way home, oh my God, you would have thought that I murdered someone, the guilt that I would put on myself. And if I'm being honest, one fun meal doesn't erase a week of effort. It does. All it did was put me in a shame spiral and just set my stress hormones out on a big, firestorm. And I remember one of my coaches used to always say this. It's like, if you think about it, for the most part, if you eat 3 meals a day, right, you have 21 meals in a week. One meal out of 21 isn't going to destroy the other 20 meals. And 9 times out of 10, the women who are like, I can have a lot. I blew it. And I'm like, okay, what'd you do? Right. So when you say like, oh my God, I blew it, I assume you rolled up to like the Old Country buffet and you just you took their unlimited portions to heart. And you were there camped out so bad that they kicked your ass out and your picture's on the wall, never let this chicken. That's what I picture. But for you, it's like, oh my God, I had macaroni and cheese. I'm like, did you have like a trough of it? No, I had 3 bites off my kid's plate. It's horrible. Or, oh my God, I had the extra large sundae. I'm the devil, right? And here's what I start thinking about. Food is not the enemy. Fun is not failure. And success is not reserved for the person who can check everything off on the to-do list and get the A+. That is not how life should be. I am saying this because I lived it. I wanted the A+ and I wanted extra fucking credit. That doesn't exist when you come here. Because what if we didn't have to be extreme to be effective? What if boring basics actually built your dream body? And I've shared this story with you because this is how I've been able to break my I got to do it all mindset. God, it's been 10 years since I went on a 30-day vacation. All right. So my husband and I went to New Zealand and Australia, and I did not want to be the ugly American. The other thing, it was my dream vacation, and I'm probably never going to go back to Australia or New Zealand. And I didn't want to be who I was normally on vacation. Normally on vacation, I would Google restaurants. I'd be like, okay, the town we're going in, Google restaurants that I could eat in and order the chef to make my food the way I wanted him to make it. I would be Googling hotels about gyms and not staying at a hotel because it didn't have a gym, or Googling, if I looked at the gym and, quiz the concierge, well, what kind of equipment that it had. And if it had shitty equipment, then I'd be Googling what gym I could go to that was close by. I could walk and get Uber. And then I would be getting up at 5 a.m. to go to the said gym to get in my 2-hour workout before we went on the excursions. And I said to myself, Kim, I don't want to be the ugly American. It started with my food. I didn't want to be the ugly American who I sat down at the restaurant and I literally dictated how the chef should make my meal. I did not want to be that person. I didn't want to see my husband cringe when I did that. I didn't want to hear my husband be like, do you really have to go to the gym today? I didn't want to hear that. So I was like, how can I have some sanity and not feel like I'm just saying F you to my goals? And I came up with what I call my non-negotiables. And there were 1 to 3 things that I knew I could do. Some of it might be a little challenging, but I knew I could make it happen when I was traveling for 30 days. And so that's how I was able to break free of the, I must check all 20 boxes in order for it to be right. And I will tell you, so what I did was I stepped in the scale the day I left. And I came back 30 days later and I stepped on a scale again and I was only up 2 pounds. And I will tell you, the fact that I flew for 20 plus hours, changed umpteen time zones, that 2 pounds that I was up was probably a combination of me not going to the bathroom and water retention from being in the air. And that right there was like, okay, I broke free. I was like, I wasn't restrictive. I kept it really simple and I kept it really sane. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to see if I can keep this going for another 30 days. And I did. And that's what I really want us to hone in on, is that the boring basics, right? So many people want me to say, go to the store and buy these 5 supplements. Take 3 at in the AM, 2 at lunchtime, and 1 at night. Make sure you boil your protein within an ounce of its life. Don't put any salt and pepper on it, and have limp ass broccoli. And yeah, God forbid you put salt, pepper, or butter on it. That's not what I want you to do. That's not living, because at this age, I just feel like we've earned the right to stop giving a fuck about every single thing having to be just right. And if you want to do that, rock on with your bad self. I am not for you. But if you are like, you know what, there has to be something more than dieting within an inch of my life for the rest of my life, I am your girl. And this summer, we're going to do something that I call the unsexy summer shred, right? It's, here's the thing, right? I know sexy sells for years, right? I worked for a company and we did the summer slim down, and you see the sexy summer shred and you see the hot girl summer, all the things. But guess what? I know sexy sells. Like, if sexy didn't sell, marketers would not still use that word. But I know boring builds. And I know that boring builds strong habits. And I know that when I have great habits, I move into a routine. And when I have a great routine, I have consistency. And when I have consistency, I have results. And I know that some of the habits we have right now, they're healthy, quasi-unhealthy, quasi-unhinged. But I know breaking those habits are a little challenging. And you've already kind of established a routine. And I know that breaking a habit you've been doing for a long time is challenging. But I know that if you nail the basics, you will easily have something that's repeatable. You will easily not feel like, I blew it because I had truffle fries. I blew it because I had a glass rosé. I know that when you have you learn the boring basics, you'll be able to say, you know what? I'm going to a barbecue, and you know what? I'm going to have that potato salad, and it's going to be okay. You are going to go on vacation with your kid and be like, you know what? I am having the ice cream cone, and I am taking this moment with my kid because I only have X number of summers before they're too embarrassed to be seen with me. And that's what the unsexy summer is all about. The unsexy summer is all about how do we really focus in on the habits that actually move the needle. And you get to decide what the habits are. And, it's somewhere between 1 and 3 habits. I'm going to share several habits, but you pick the 1 to 3 habits that feel good for you. And my overachiever, I'm going to challenge you not to feel like an overachiever. I'm going to challenge you for 8 weeks to pick 1 to 3 things that you are just, that's going to be your vibe. That's going to be your jam. Because so many people will come and they'll be like, oh, Kim, I only want to work with you for 30 days. And I was like, well, that's like saying I only want to go to the gym for 30 days and I'm going to come out ripped. That's not how it works. For many of you, you've been living the same life. Like, you've been Groundhog Day like I was for a really long time. And what happens is when you live that life, unbreaking those habits, right? So I've worked on going dairy-free. And for years, my breakfast was a whey protein shake, cottage cheese, Greek yogurt. Those are my normal, rotational breakfast. So I had to find something completely different. And that habit was like a, an 18-wheeler trying to do a 3-point turn. It was really challenging. And so the same thing's probably going to happen for you. The first few weeks of it, it's going to be like, oh, like trying to move in a different way that you're not used to. Another way to think about it is, how many of you, you have a certain way that you always leave your house? You might turn right, you might turn left, and you get a new job, and all of a sudden, instead of turning right, you're turning left. And how many times will you find yourself turning left when you meant to turn right? Or, it's an exit or two, above or below where you used to get off the highway, and you find yourself just by automatically oh, I'm getting off at exit 10. I should have been getting off at exit 8 or getting off at exit 12. So those are the things that take us a little bit of time to just kind of rewire our braining. Ding, that is not a word. We rewire our brains. And so one of the things that I want to really reinforce in this unsexy summer shred is the boring basics. So every week you're going to get an email that walks you through what we're focusing on that week. You'll get a habit tracker to keep you honest, but not obsessive. Because I was listening to another podcast earlier today that when you do make a misstep, right, it is a learning. It's a learning. It's not pass fail. It is a learning. It's a data point. It's like, okay, what did I do this week, right? Because that's what I want everyone to have, that pause. And they're like, okay, what happened this week that I told myself I was going to sleep 7 hours, I was going to have a big ass salad with protein, and I was going to walk 10,000 steps. So maybe I hit 8,000 a week. And I'd be like, instead of being like, oh, I should have had that extra 2. Like, okay, so my afternoon walk was 20 minutes. I could probably get 2,000 more steps if I added 5 more minutes to that walk. Would it be easy for me to add 5 more minutes to that walk? Okay, yes or no? Then it's like, if I wasn't sleeping 7 hours, I'd be like, okay, what was going on? Was I not setting a bedtime? So it's like being reflective versus being abusive. And also know that sometimes you just have that week, right? Sometimes we have a week where we can't find our ass with both hands. And I know that week. So if you are having a week where you can't find your ass with both hands, that's where we have a private Facebook group for support questions. I don't want you to feel like you need to hide, because so many of you feel like if you're not doing everything, you need to hide. And I don't want you hiding. I want you to really saying, I'm locking in, trying to get my shit together. And in order to do that, I got to ask questions. I got to ask for feedback. I got to ask for support. I got to ask for accountability. And we're doing very simply in that habit tracker, we're tracking protein, water, fruits, vegetables, steps, workouts. Yeah, really simple, not 47 different things. It's not a meal plan that leaves you hangry and mad because you can't find Eye of Newt at the grocery store. I am not for that. This isn't the 8 weeks to invisible, right? This isn't 8 weeks to shrink your body, right? This is not how do you get shredded for bikini season? This is, how do I break free from the belief that I need to earn my fun? That I need to earn sitting on the beach reading a book with my family. I need to earn that ice cream cone. I need to earn that glass of rosé. No. And what I really want you to know is that rest days don't equal failure. I think it was Brené Brown that was talking about the word convalescence. And so many of us think of convalescence as you think of convalescence homes, for old people. And that we as Americans have gotten so far removed from the idea of rest. And for those of us in that perimenopausal, menopausal throes of life, rest is really good, right? Because we don't have the hormones anymore. Progesterone is not firing on all cylinders. Our adrenals are, potentially making estrogen for us because our ovaries have started to shrivel up like raisins, and we're just trying to survive. And so I want us to kind of start to break away that we don't have to punish ourselves. right? We can rest. We can go for a walk and it still count as exercise, right? This summer, we are not about punishment. We're not about doing all or nothing thing. And we're definitely not about like making one misstep and then just like piecing out for the summer. We are going to be slowly chipping away at our progress, slowly chipping away at our habits until they become fun, until they become who we are. I talked about my non-negotiables. I did those for like 4 or 5 years. And now they're just like, boom, it's who I am. It's what I do. And then I think 30 years ago, I was like, all right, it's time for me to add something new. And I added those new things. And, it took me about 2 years for those to kind of become like, this is what I do. So I want you to realize that it's not a overnight thing, right? There are those like unique unicorns, but I am not that. I remember years ago, I don't know if anyone used to watch the MTV series True Life. And from time to time, they would always have like some type of like weight loss person. And I remember there would be this weight loss, guru would walk into the family's house and just go through their cabinets and just start tossing shit. Like, that's gone, that's gone, that's gone. And the family was just like they were pulling away a relative and they were only pulling away the chipperoos. And I just know that that's not how I live. I know that I want to wade. I like to wade into the pool. I don't like to just, dive in and find that the water's like freezing. I like to wade into the pool. And that's what this is. This is wading into the pool. And like, earning your stripes, right? You be like, I'm doing the work. I'm doing the work. I'm taking my time. I'm taking the task and I'm taking it day by day. Because this year, like, if I do that and I take it day by day, I'm choosing consistency over chaos. Because it's really easy to be like ping-ponging all around versus like, this is what I do. This is how I'm going to keep moving forward when life throws you that curveball, right? Because it's like, as I mentioned, one of my non-negotiables was a salad with chicken. Well, I could have that salad with chicken at a restaurant. I could make that salad with chicken. I can bring that salad with chicken to work with me, right? I could get it to go. Hell, every deli has some form of a salad with some type of deli meat on it, or you can just have the deli meat and lettuce and tomato, right? So I want us to think that there's always a way. There's always a way. And this summer is the summer that we finally stop starting over. This summer is the finally time we stop pressing pause and I'll pick it up. Because like, stop picking up your health. Like, you're not picking up your health like you're picking out takeout. That's not how it works. So here's what I want you to think about. Like, I want you to imagine, here we are sitting on Labor Day and you're looking back and you say, you know what? I didn't just survive the summer. I actually figured out how to get my shit together, because it doesn't always have to be perfect. And because I stayed consistent, that's what mattered. I chose what I got to be consistent with. I didn't go extreme. It was not sexy, but it was sustainable. And I was no longer waiting for motivation to ring my doorbell and be like, hey, girl, hey, hop in the back seat, right? It was boring, but it was effective. It was doable. And I absolutely enjoyed it. And that's what I want you to feel like, because the reason why many of you stop is because we put all of these parameters around it. Like, it has to look a certain way. And the best example of this is, it's a little woo-woo, but I think it'll work for you. So sometimes you have to surrender. And like, one of my favorite authors is Gabrielle Bernstein. And she wrote a book called The Universe Has Your Back. And it's really a lot about surrendering. And it's just kind of like letting go of trying to steer the way things should work, right? Because if you're putting in the work, it's going to happen. And you can't force like the timeline. And, again, we've been, so in our diet cults, we've been so, baptized in the 12 weeks to this, 16 weeks to that, 18 weeks to that. And sometimes, especially if you've been beating the shit out of your body for decades, that timeline ain't coming for you, right? So I always challenge people, give yourself 1 to 2 years, because I know that for many of you, it's going to take you at least 3 months to like figure out like your new rhythm. I had a client who's like, Kim, I suck at maintenance. And I was like, oh, why do you suck at maintenance? She's like, because I just haven't gotten it. I haven't gotten it right yet. And I was like, well, okay, let's go to what you said. I haven't gotten it right yet. And so for many of us, we're still trying to like find the meal plan. We're still trying to do someone else's plan versus like trying to make things work for our life, right? Like, and having food we hate. And I'm always like, we have to stop eating food we hate. I spent a decade eating food I hate. And now it's like, I eat foods that I like, but I've made it able to adapt to how I want to eat, right? So it's like, do I have a shake every morning for breakfast? No, some mornings I don't feel like it. But I started trying chia pudding. I like it. I started trying gluten-free overnight oats. I like it, right? So it's like being open to experimenting. But if I tried gluten-free overnight oats and I hated it, I'm not going to fucking eat it. And so I want us all to start kind of, instead of feeling like we have to blindly follow some plan, it's really, how do we start to adapt the plan to what we like to eat and how we live? So for now, right now in the Unsexy Summer Shred, it's an 8-week program where all it is like me working with you to understand, how do you nail the basics? How do you build simple habits that last longer than the 8 weeks? How do you feel simple habits that you're looking back in January and be like, I'm still doing it and it still feels good? And that's where I want us to live, right? It's just the boring, doable basics that really work long-term, regardless of where you are on the planet, regardless of coming home late on a Sunday night, it all works. And it's everything your past diets weren't. And it's giving you just sanity. So if you're ready to do it the smart, sustainable, sane way, I got you. So in the show notes, you will see the link to hop on the waitlist. So hop on the waitlist. Those of you guys on the waitlist is going to get an early action bonus. You guys, I know for me, I spent many summers being hot or cold. I was either on plan or off plan. And when I was off plan, girl, I was so off plan. I was lucky I found my way home. So I don't want that for you. I want us to learn how to get through summer and getting through summer well past when the leaves change, well past when the first snowflake threatens to fall from the sky, for those of us who live in snowy places. All right, magic makers, do me a favor. I want you to screenshot this episode and tell me one thing that you want to commit to for this summer. All right, I will talk to you next week. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you for listening to the Fit Girl Magic podcast. If you've made it this far, yay. I'm thinking you enjoyed the show. Let's continue the conversation on Instagram. You can find me at Kim Jefferson Coach. In order for me to keep sharing this message, do me a favor and leave me a 5-star review on iTunes. While you're there, don't forget to subscribe so that you won't miss an episode. New episodes are available every Wednesday. The Fit Girl Magic podcast is intended to provide you with tips, tools, and strategies that will help you make better decisions about your health. I really appreciate your feedback and your support. Thank you so much.